Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to 2026.
Welcome to 2026. Good evening, everyone, race fans, wherever you are watching this evening. Welcome to the Red Bull Ring for round one of the MC Motorsport Domains2U MCV8 Series, kicking off at 2026 in style. And after the off-season break, the wait is finally over. We're finally back for a brand new year of racing, and this opening chapter is set to be an absolute cracker. The Red Bull Ring always delivers close racing, some heavy braking zones, which of course these supercars absolutely love, and plenty of opportunity for drama. Tonight's field is ready to lay down a very early marker in this championship, and we cannot wait to see it. Welcome to Simple Racing Broadcast, and welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Jared Cole. Alongside me in the commentary box tonight is none other than Dean Biggles Hopton. And Biggles, I tell you what a place to start off a new season of V8 Supercars.
Yes, welcome everybody. Of course, happy New Year, and hope you enjoyed your Christmas break, because it's time to absolutely go motor racing in a very short track, but a certainly fast track, one that you can get a lot of overtakes on. And yeah, if you are interested in the Sound of Music, well, we are in the heart place, of course, of the Sound of Music in Austria.
I don't think any of these guys will be paying too much attention to the hills being alive with anything other than the sound of V8 motors absolutely roaring around this track. It's a really tricky one for a V8 supercar, but very, very well suited, of course. Something that all these supercar drivers absolutely love is long, fast straights and heavy braking zones. It's the best way to get a pass done in a V8 supercar, and the Red Bull Ring absolutely delivers that. Tonight's format, we are opening this season with a feature round, which means open qualifying underway as we speak, and we'll go check out the last bits of that in just a moment. Race 1 will be 16 laps, a sprint race of sorts. Then race 2, 32 laps with a reverse top 10 grid. As always, a few series rules to go through. The drivers are restricted to 61% fuel capacity. That's 80 litres in the tank, which will bring fuel strategy into play in that second race. And of course, the incident points around drive-throughs. 17 incidents will get you your first drive-through, and then of course each 10 incidents after that, one fast repair up the sleeve, and of course the potential for drive-throughs and other penalties to be issued by race control depending on what happens out there on track tonight. The temperatures, Biggles, in Austria here certainly far nicer than they would be if we were racing at Australian tracks, and that is really the name of the game with this season. It's a bit hot to go racing every week at an Australian track this season.
Yes, it is. But at least here currently at the moment, we're looking roughly at about 19 degrees track temperature. So as you mentioned, a bit of overcast conditions. I did pop out and have a look at the weather forecast there. Don't think there's any rain on the horizon at the moment for both of our races here tonight. Our first race and then our feature race coming up. But very soon we shall have some of our drivers actually probably coming around to complete some of their qualifying laps. But of course, as you wanted to talk about too, of course, they've got one fast repair up their sleeve there, Jared, so that's something okay. These incident points, of course, too, off-track limits are very, very possible here. Remember, you can run all over the place, but will that come into play for our feature race later on? Not to 100%. sure, Jared.
Yeah, it'll be something for us to keep an eye on, as it always is. The race control team, of course, will be keeping an eye on all of the non-iRacing penalties that might come around. We'll talk quickly about the rest of this season that lies ahead. 10 rounds this time, which is up from last V8 season's 8 rounds. We're going through a pretty interesting variety of tracks this season. Red Bull Ring to start us off, then we go to Mid-Ohio for a sprint night. Virginia International Raceway is always a favourite. Then Hockenheimring will no doubt challenge a supercar. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport. It is one of the most challenging V8 supercar drives that I've seen, and I can't wait to see what these drivers make of it when we do get there. Watkins Glen, of course, is an absolute favourite, as is Spa-Francorchamps. Then Sonoma. We finally get back to Australia in round 9 with Adelaide, and you couldn't miss Adelaide out of this season. And then, of course, we finish with a sprint round at Long Beach for round 10. It's going to be a very, very different season to the last time we had V8 supercars racing with MC Motorsport, and it's a pretty sizable field this time as well, Biggles.
It's jam-packed. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. As you mentioned about those certain tracks, that's going to be interesting. Of course, we get the new Adelaide track there again when I finish it off for the season. And a shorter season, as you know, because there's more motor racing to happen here on the MC Motorsport channel. Finishing it out at Long Beach in March, just about a week or so, I think, after Formula One. We'll start back up again. So interesting on that one, my friend. And of course, we have our defending champion back again to see if he can defend the series for another season with Brett Loxton.
It's been a little while since we raced V8s with MC Motorsport, and that's the other change to note, of course. That MC Motorsport this time around have actually split their seasons. They were alternating between GT3s and V8s. We're now running both seasons concurrently. So the GT3s are moving to Wednesday nights. So fear not, race fans, plenty of MC Motorsport action right here on Simple Racing Broadcasts across the next 10 weeks, and can't wait to take you through all of it. Let's go down to the track and check out a bit of the qualifying action while we are chatting away about what's to come in this season, because there's still plenty for us to have a bit of a chat about, but we'll head on down and check out how things are looking in qualifying. And Brett Loxton, at the moment, as you said, last V8 season's champion. It's been, though, I think, if memory serves, probably about 3 months since the conclusion of that season. So there's a long way to go before I think Brett will feel comfy again behind the wheel of this Mustang, and we're yet to see him set a time. The off-track's just causing all sorts of issues, I'm sure, for a lot of these drivers here tonight. But never fear, still plenty to go in this evening's racing, and what have we got? Another, 8 minutes or so in qualifying. Call it 7.5 minutes to go in qualifying now, Biggles, and plenty of opportunity for these drivers to still set a better time if possible. Will Buchanan, though, the early lead out in front with 131.25. There's not much in it to Paul Young, who is a new entry this season from Phase 4 Motorsport. And returning V8 supercar driver Jamie Dyke back again. Always good to see Dyke out on track, and no doubt we'll have a chat to him at some point this season, I'm sure. But Fishy Motorsports sending a couple of cars back into the fray here this season, and I'd love to see it.
Nothing fishy about Fishy Motorsports. So we've got some fans out there in the chat too. We have the Danny P fans are all fired up.
As always, the self-proclaimed crowd favourite.
Hi, Reese. One time I accidentally saw the Bahrain circuit. I'm not sure. Well, this is not Bahrain.
No, definitely not Bahrain, although I know there are some conversations going on around the potential for iRacing to be bringing a Middle East circuit to the service. I don't think it'll be for probably a couple of seasons yet. Let's face it, they're not the quickest. We were waiting for Adelaide for a very, very long time, and glad to finally have it. But of course, now everyone wants to see the next Australian circuit for more supercar action. I can't wait for Gold Coast.
Miami as well.
Miami, yeah, that's very true. Miami, we were waiting quite some time before that one came out, weren't we?
Yeah, haven't been there yet. I don't know if you've been there.
I've taken a brief look at it, and it's a challenging circuit. I'm not disappointed to see that we're not going there this season, but in saying that, I'm sure it'll come up. I think we've got a Miami race coming up with Alliance Sim Racing on Tuesday nights. Pretty sure they've got it in their calendar. We'll have to have a look at that tomorrow night when we do bring that broadcast to you as well. Will Brown. Now, Biggles, you and
Yes.
I had a good old chat trying to figure out if this was the Will Brown. Will Brown, the famous V8
Did some
supercar
homework
driver.
on that, didn't we? Yeah.
And it is not the Will Brown from the Real World V8 Supercar Series, I'm sorry to say, but putting in some good times for his first showing here tonight, currently sitting in 5th place with about 5 minutes or so to go in this qualifying. 6 minutes. I can't do maths clearly on a Monday night, but you know, still in holiday mode. Well, big moment for Will there. I don't know what happened to get him
camera
out
shot,
but
yeah.
look, that's that commentator curse coming into play. The other thing you might notice here tonight, and this is indeed supercar racing. Isaac joining us in the chat. G'day, Isaac. Looking forward to having you in the booth for this next week. Cannot wait to welcome you back into the booth with me for some V8 supercar action. You might notice on the timing tower a bunch of drivers there with silver position numbers. Those are the drivers competing in the AM Cup competition. So a carryover from the previous V8 season. The bottom half of competing drivers from that season, if they return this season, will be eligible to compete in the Amateur Cup. So a list of names there: Dean Powell, Simon Kapler, Trev Mortimer, Jake Rebellion, Adrian Gresh, Matt Bakir and Ronald Long, all here on track tonight, with everyone else competing in the standard V8 Series competition. As we see Liam Tipping come around and finally managed to set a time after 3 laps. And that really tells you just how hard they're pushing out here on track at Red Bull Ring. Qual Cartel, quite a number of cars on track from that team tonight, so we'll see plenty of them, I'm sure.
Well, it's the time, it's the crunch time in the qualifying to start getting some laps out as much as possible. If you can find yourself a bit of space out there too, anybody makes a mistake. Remember, you've only got 2 corners to your left, everything else is to your right. You can count that little kink from between turns 1 and up into turns 3. There's a little kink in there. That's essentially, they class that as turn 2, even though
Yes, I'm not calling that turn 2, I refuse to.
No, it's the same thing with the little kink, isn't it, after turn 3 and 5, essentially up the top of the mountain as well too. Yeah, well, the hill really, it's not a mountain. Mountains are up further.
Absolutely.
There we go. Look, we got Josh Harris. There is his back with his seatbelts that will tighten up with the G-forces in the ADHD racing entrance there for the 989 machine there. Josh Harris, good to see him back.
Absolutely it is, and of course the major sponsor for that team, Domains2U, also the major sponsor for this season of the MCV8 Series. Great to have them back on board and supporting the league. They've been with us through a number of seasons over the last 12 months, and always good to have them continuing their support of the MC Motorsport Racing Series. G'day Trenton, yeah, a couple of new liveries out there tonight. I did notice that there was an older Koala Cartel livery getting around just a moment ago we were looking at, but Thomas Cool on your screen now is sporting the new version of that Koala Cartel livery. Not quite as blindingly yellow as it used to be, that's for sure. And Greg checking in, mate, I cannot argue, the Revolution e-racing entries always look absolutely fantastic.
They do. You can see, once again, to explain to everybody for this season as well, too, on your leaderboard, if they've got the silver next to their name on the tower, timing tower, as well as onto the car there, they will be a AM class, and we've got our pro class at the moment. You can see all pro drivers on the sort of lap time are the top 23, and you can see that as well too. So it's the top 19 separated by a second. That's pretty good. Considering Formula 1 they're separated by about 3 tenths to 4 tenths, I think, around here. Remember, that's the pinnacle of motorcars, of motorsport. So I'll tell you what, not bad, isn't it? That should show you that fierce competitive level that we could have between these drivers, to have 19 drivers separated by a second around here in Red Bull.
And 30 drivers separated by 2.5 is nothing to sneeze at either. I reckon we're going to see some very, very close racing. G'day, Alan. Welcome on in. Yeah, it's going to be a great race tonight, no doubt. Awesome track. Absolutely friendly locals. Hospitality suites, mate. Invite me on up there, and I will make sure that we get a bus for you. They haven't actually asked me to come up to the hospitality suites, which is a little bit unfortunate for me. But you enjoy your time up there, mate. I hope you've got a sneaky beverage in hand and ready for some very, very good racing here tonight. Greg joins us. G'day, Greg. Cheering on Dane Snadden, repping the Whiskey Business Racing Stable. He's a new entry this time around as well. So we've had a few new entries actually coming on through. And then I'm just keeping an eye on a couple of late entries as well to qualifying. With just over a minute to go, we've got a couple of new drivers just joining the session, so they're not going to have a lot of time at all up their sleeve here, Biggles, to actually, you know, try and run some laps and get a bit of a feel for the track.
Yeah, changing conditions as well. So the temperature's dropped a little bit, the overcast there, but Dane Snadden for the Project X on the side of the car. She's looking at Luke Hayden, the other ADHD entrance car there. So a lot of drivers are now headed out back into pit road, not got enough time to get a lap out. If you want to get one in, finish it off pretty quickly at the moment. Will Buchanan on top of the timesheets there with Paul Young and Sebastian as well. Two Brett Loxton, defending champion in P4, 2/10 off the pace.
Now this is always the crunch time, isn't it, Biggles? Trying to figure out exactly when and where the timer is going to actually kick us out for qualifying. I get it wrong every time. I'm going to predict tonight that they don't get to complete the lap that they're on. But honestly, who knows? Sebastian Eskandari joining us now. Eskandari, pretty quick young driver in open wheelers. Does a lot of Formula Ford racing for Team Max Boost. So it'll be interesting to see what he can run behind the wheel of a V8 supercar. If this is anything to go by, third place in qualifying is probably not a bad way to start off his season.
Second row, there's the bull, a statue as well too. And let us know in the chat too how much that weighs, because it does weigh quite a bit actually.
Really? So, okay, there you go.
Yes, it does.
There you go.
For a little bit of trivia for you.
Well, let's take a look at the grid for race number 1. This is how they'll line up to get this season underway. Will Buchanan and Paul Young take the front row alongside each other, less than a tenth in it between their times. Sebastian Eskandari and Brett Loxton on row 2, followed by Danny P and James Chastano joining him on row 3. Jamie Dyke and Will Brown on the 4th row, then Thomas Hinds and Ryan Nielsen round out your top 10. Further back through the field, James Doyle and Sam Cullen line up ahead of David Coleman and Dane Snadden. Then Ben Morris and Ryan Palmer ahead of Liam Tipping and Jason Douglas, with Liam Jensen and Mitch Curry rounding out your top 20. Further back through the field, Thomas Cool and Cruz McPhee. Then Josh Harris, and we reach the first of the Am Cup drivers in Dean Powell on row 12. Simon Caplet and Jake Robilliard alongside each other. Then Chris Slashbrook and Trev Mortimer, with Adrian Gresh and Matt Bakir rounding out your 30. Behind them, Ron Long and Chris Croat, Scott Watts and Luke Hayden, then Phil Whiteman, the last driver on track. Your race control team tonight, Nathan Allen, Chris Miller and Isaac Edwards, may all at certain points be called on to come on out in the safety car, but hopefully not necessary tonight, Biggles.
Well, there is... No, the walls aren't out there, but I've seen big accidents out of turn 1 before, where cars have just smashed on the inside and come back off of the track there. There could be a possibility they could call them out now. That's one of the danger zones. I think that there would be a possibility of a safety car. Not much else. At the top of the hill, there's a lot of runoff area as you go up into turn 3. Essentially, we like to call turn 2. And
I still maintain that's turn 2. I don't care.
Yeah, I will call it turn 2 for the rest of the race now. But
that cannot be called an actual turn. That's just... It's a lot.
Oh, final corner as well too. I've seen a few incidents in the past in that final corner, and of course because you don't have much of a runoff area because it's the main straightaway, you can get cars bouncing off the fence there, coming across the track there, causing debris and stuff like that. Potentially could cause a safety car out there. But if you wanted to mention something about a track that least amount of chances maybe on this calendar we have this season for a safety car to be called, this might very well be it.
Yeah, it's certainly up there. Not a whole lot of time left to go for the drivers to grid up here for race 1. 16 laps lie ahead. This will be an all-out sprint, and look, always an interesting time. Start a new season, a whole bunch of new drivers we haven't seen before, that haven't raced together, and certainly not in a field perhaps of this size. V8 supercars, of course, notoriously difficult to drive at the best of times. The real question is, are we going to survive this first couple of laps without a safety car being called? Only one way to find out. Let's go down to the grid now as we get ready to kick off 2026 with 16 laps around the Red Bull Ring here with MC Motorsport. Just a few seconds left before we're under starters orders, waiting for the green flag at the back of this very, very long field of drivers. Got the last few of them just jumping on now. We are about to get underway here. A few drivers actually jumping off to the pits, so we'll start from the pits here. But under starters orders, the lights are up. We're waiting for the 5 reds, and as they drop out, we are underway. Will Buchanan leads them away, and already you can see a number of big dives happening off the start line, and we head on up towards turn 1. Now this will be an interesting start to see if we can make this through in one piece. Will Buchanan, Brett Loxton out in front, Jamie Dyke already up a few positions as he starts to dive on through. Will Brown behind him. Danny Ping, not the start he would have wanted. He's back down into 6th. He's lost 1 spot as we make our way towards turn 3, Fine Biggles, for the very first time. And this one is, of course, where it can all go very, very wrong. Cold tyres, drivers keen to make their mark early on. It looks as though we're mostly going to get through here unscathed. That's a fantastic start from this field. A few movements as drivers are side by side just trying to sort out their racing line, but not a huge number of changes just yet, as we see Ryan Palmer starting to make his way up the inside and gain a couple of positions as well. They come out of this right-hander for the first time, and you can see now a racing line just starting to get underway. We've got an already Paul Young has jumped out of the car after getting ready to start early, so I'm not sure what's happened for him there, but he hasn't seen the start line. So we are underway, and Biggles, I reckon that's about the best start we could hope for. We're not through the first lap yet, but that is a very, very clean start for a big field of V8 supercars.
Yeah, they were leading on each other getting down into turn 1 for that race start, and it was actually quite impressive that they didn't get into each other too much on that one. Danny P, unfortunately, down a couple of places, had a little bit of wide and down 5 there.
We've just lost our connection. We've just lost our connection for a moment there, folks. We should be good to go again, I think. Let us know if we're back up and running. We should be looking okay now, I think.
Yeah, it's okay. It looks okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So a fair bit going on,
YouTube,
and Tipping, Doyle and Cullen all right in here. The 2 Koala Cartel cars under a bit of pressure from the Revolution E-Racing entry right behind them. This is the battle for 13th. We've got a bit of a moment in the background. Looks like Liam Jensen is around in the kitty litter, as is Ben Morris from Phase 4, one of the other new entries. So we'll have to have a look and see what might have happened there. Jake Rebellion also getting caught up in a bit of that re-entry. Not ideal, but it's a bit of a rough spot to try and get back on the track anyway, isn't it?
Well, there's some fierce fighting at the moment in the midfield as well, too. They're around Doyle. Both the Koala Cartel drivers are at it too for now there, with Sam Cullen in behind them. Brett Lox has started to put a little bit of pressure in the fastest lap on Will Buchanan as well, too, up front, but he's still about 3-4 tenths off there, so I don't think he's close enough for an overtake yet. But look at the teammates here at the moment. What's going on here at the Koala Cartel? They've got to be doing something. Sam's coming pretty quickly behind him as well, and Dan Snagan out there with somebody got some crowd support.
Cullen's got a great run. He's going to be on the outside, but he'll be on the inside for turn 3. Gets on the brakes, and he will take that position. So splits the Koala Cartel cars. A bit of extra drive out of the corner from Liam Tipping, but Cullen's going to be well positioned as they come back down the hill again. He'll be on the inside and should hold on to that one. This is, of course, always the challenge. Sometimes it takes you a few corners to actually get a move done in these V8 supercars. We'll go back and we'll take a look at what's happened. It looks like Jake Rebellion's had one of the first incidents of the race. So we'll see if we can just find out what's happened here. Big lock up from Simon Caplet in front, and I think just trying to avoid that, Rebellion ended up locking it up, and thankfully no damage there. But then, of course, Ben Morris and Liam Jensen both having a bit of a moment. I wonder if there was a bit of, a little bit of contact there, and then almost a bit of a nudge from the teammate to just say, hey, hang on, you're not allowed to do that to our teammates.
They're a cartel, you know, and they're going to stick together on that one. That's the situation.
From a cartel, aren't you?
Well, situation is that's where that midfield action that you can currently see at the moment. Brett Loxton is kind of really in Will, but Will's got him covered at the moment in that lead every time he starts to attack there. We've got Jamie Dyke as well, put a bit of pressure on James in P3, up 3 positions relative, as you can see. That's just, this is where they start getting into attack mode, essentially, as you can see on your pictures. But you know, so it is notoriously difficult to overtake around here, as you can see. If you just make one little mistake, somebody's ready to pounce on it. But you're talking about some of the best V8 drivers in Australia, if not the world, to handle the situation at the moment. as it is. Remember, we are on lap 4. Currently, at the moment, we will go to lap 16 for our first sprint race, and we'll reverse that top 10 as we're seeing an overtake between
Doyle. Jason Douglas from JMR gets the move done up the inside of Koala Cartel's James Doyle. I think we're going to have to run a count at some point of just how many Koala Cartel cars we've actually got on track, because there are a whole bunch of them and they're all running slightly different versions of this livery. I'm not actually sure if that's an intentional thing or just haven't been updated yet. Apparently Sam Cullen's saying he'd win the championship. Look, he's going to have a bit of work to do from back in 16th to get that sort of start going, but he is right on the tail of Mitch Curry, of course the man behind MC Motorsport, in his brand new livery that he was telling me all about. Camaro looking pretty decent there, but he's going to have a fair bit of pressure coming from Cullen, who, if he's looking to win the championship, then he's going to be starting to put some real pressure on here. And not a lot of a gap between any of these drivers. In fact, we're about to see this turn into a 7-way battle because these front 4, while they've been working it out there, Josh Harris has been leading the charge. Thomas Cool, Cruz McVie, and Dean Powell right behind him, and they're all starting to join in on this. So for Cullen and Curry, they've got to just be careful they don't give away too much time here while they try and work it out. A big lock up there
up the road
from it looks like, was that James Doyle? Just going
no,
a
Ryan
bit
Palmer
deep.
went a little bit wide actually, and because he's right next to DC as well too, because he had to get past. I think DC had a slowdown moment as well too, so that's a situation up the road from that very battle that you're looking at as well too in your pictures. So that's what you're talking about, turning into a big mid-pack battle on your screens, and that's certainly one place to look. Places to look absolutely everywhere too, mate, because you know you've still got the battle brewing between William Brown as well too in P5, P6 and P7 of Ryan Nielsen up on the tailpipe as well too of Sebastian. So action absolutely everywhere. Thankfully we've got another feature race coming up after that, because this will be over before you know it.
Yeah, we're just getting around now onto lap number 6 rather, of our 16. Will Buchanan crosses the line to kick that off. And the front 4 or 5 all fairly close together. You've got this little battle of 3, but that mid-pack battle is looking absolutely massive as Nielsen had to think about sending up the inside of Eskandari. It's not a great turn to get it done. Big slide from Danny P as he pushes the cars to the limits, just trying to stay on the back of the 2 out in front here in this battle for 6th. I wonder if Nielsen can get the move done here. Eskandari's been doing a great job of covering his apexes, covering the corner entries, but Nielsen goes for it heavy under brakes. Eskandari, the over-under, a beautiful move to retain that bit of contact there, and watch for Danny P. He'll be all over this. He gets through and he actually ends up picking up a spot while Ryan Nielsen drops in behind. Very, very lucky not to see more damage done there, or perhaps a car off the track. These guys handling these V8 supercars absolutely beautifully as they battle it out for position.
Oh, almost 3 wide there for a second. As you go around a series of a couple of left-hand turners now. You only 2 left-hand turns. This is fantastic. This is what I love about Spielberg too, with this track, mate, my friend, the Red Bull. It's, you can, I've seen it go, cars go 2 wide all the way around the entire track. And not many tracks you can get in any racing calendar that can do that, and these drivers almost proved it, that example of it. But the big problem you saw there with Ryan up in that turn 2 as well too, if you go for the inside, you've got to be late on the brakes, you'll outbrake yourself a little bit, and then that's why that little slingshot, overcut, undercut kind of thing that happens around that. So you got to time it perfectly on that. You don't think it's because you've got your nose ahead by the time you come out of that corner. They got the momentum, the speed at the top of the hill, and here we go all over again. More of this fantastic battle. First race of the season here. Domains2U
really trying to bait Bolton there, isn't he? He's got the car right over the inside of the track, trying to drag Danny P into a less than ideal line. Danny P, of course, a pretty experienced operator, could see that coming, so he's not going to take the bait this time around. Have a look at this battle pack though we've got back here. Look at your timing tower, folks. Jason Douglas out in front leads a very, very long line of cars. Dane Snowden, James Doyle, Sam Cullen, Mitch Curry, Liam Tipping, Thomas Cool, Josh Harris and Cruz McVie all in amongst it. Big moment there for Mitch Curry. He goes around, and so he'll be left in a very, very awkward position trying to get that car moving again. He's going to need a very, very tidy flick spin, but this is going to send him all the way down 24th position, and he's going to lose a couple more before he gets going again. Croat and Jensen go on through, and he'll find himself in the pack at the back.
Yeah,
Further up, have a look at the Nielsen, the drift here.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional, but it certainly did look good.
Yeah, they were leaning off each other, my friend. Absolutely leaning each other for each other. Like we saw almost a repeat of the lap before on that one. So, well, I don't know if you had how much
Sam
Christmas
Cullen
beef
off into
you
the
had.
wall as well. So
Yeah.
well, he looks like he actually might have kept it out of the wall somehow. He's out on the grass. It's not the fastest line around that corner, but it'll do, and he'll get himself moving again. So all the action coming at once, and that big pack just falling apart. Out in front though, this battle continues. Shastner and Dyke still into it. Will Brown not too far off the back. Out in front though, Buchanan and Loxton with a good couple of seconds. You can see him just a little bit further up the track. So they're breathing pretty easy at the moment.
Duck got a very good exit here. He's going to try and tuck and get the slipstream. Now he's going to be thinking about whether he's going to send one up the inside here. No, he's not. He's going to be happy to sit behind at this point. He's got to remember. He's got to try to cover up Brown too. If he tries anything fishy, let's say, James is going to be on top of that one. Up the road there, Brett make a little bit of a mistake. That's dropped off a little bit at Will Buchanan. Well, every time Brett makes an attack to Will Buchanan comes back at it. But this is the big battle, as you can see on your pictures, for P3 essentially.
Let's go back and take a look at that Eskandari-Nielsen moment, because it was certainly a lot going on there. Let's just keep an eye on this one on the replay. So Sebastian Eskandari and Ryan Nielsen right alongside each other, and Eskandari just right across into him. Look at the slide for Nielsen. He did a brilliant job to hold that. I've got to give it to him. No doubt the steward's having a bit of a chat about that one, I'm sure. But you know, V8 supercar racing, you do get a bit of that rubbing of panels going on. It's often the only way to actually get a pass done.
Not through the series of left-handers very often, I see, but that's great racing. Yeah, we got live race control. Don't forget that. A couple of drivers standing by too on the safety car, but that's the beauty of our series here.
We've avoided it so far, haven't we, Biggles? The safety car could have come out a couple of times, but thankfully Red Bull Ring a lot of runoff here. Yeah. And so less likely to end up in tears if you do run a bit wide. You've got plenty of room to pull it up before you do meet the walls. That's under all sorts of pressure at the moment. He's really pushing those tyres. You can see the rear end of that car just skating around as he tries to hold off Liam Tipping and teammate Thomas Kuhl, the two Koala Cartel cars all over the back of it. Tipping right on him. Look at these guys going too wide in front and behind. What's going to happen here? Jason Douglas can't get through anywhere. A big moment here for Tipping. Can he get up the inside? Can he hold the line? He's just struggling to get traction on the way out of the corner. Doesn't look like he's going to hang on to that one, but Doyle and Douglas out in front are still side by side. Douglas is going to have the better line coming into this right-hander, but locks the break-up contact there. That's going to take them both out. Snadden says, thank you very much, I'll take two positions, as does Kuhl. And now, of course, right in the middle of this, Josh Harris and Chris McVeigh not too far back either. It's changed very, very quickly for this group.
Got to be very careful through a series of left-handers. A little bit of kitty litter has been kicked up at certain parts of the track too, so if you're going to be looking at going double wide through there, there's no traction. You saw on the inside line of two at the top of the hill as well too. There doesn't seem to be too much traction there as well too. So there's them running a little bit wide out there, kicking up more kitty litter onto the track. Sun's popped out here in Austria now as well too. I'll keep an eye on those track temperatures to see if they're starting to pop up a couple of degrees. It's about 19 going into this race. And already you can see the cars slipping and sliding all over the place as they're just punishing this. They're not going to go down and put new tyres on or anything like that, my friend. You're going straight to race this one, and with that reverse top 10 grid. So it's important to get yourself, especially where DC is at the moment there. David Coleman, he's around that P10 position. Will be looking good for pole in the next race.
Absolutely will be. G'day, Mr. Din. Welcome on in. This is iRacing V8 Supercars, the Gen 3 Supercars here at Red Bull Ring on the iRacing service. Look, I can understand people thinking it looks real world. We do, of course, pride ourselves on the quality of the broadcast, but it is indeed iRacing. So if you're interested in it, jump on board. It's a quality simulator, and very, very well regarded, because you see so much racing of this sort of quality. Look at this Tipping trying everything he can to throw something at Snadden. Snadden's got just enough of a lead at the moment that he's hanging on to this, but Tipping is coming back very, very quickly. He's leaving Douglas behind just a little. This group's starting to space out, but still the closest battle on track is this pack of cars from Snadden in 12th back to around about Cruz McPhee in 18th. You can see them just spreading out a little bit as they start to get back into a rhythm, and that's the thing that happens here, right? Because you get a few cars just slide off track and a few bits of contact, and everyone just has a bit of a moment to just shake it off and re-establish a little bit of calm, in amongst it all.
Calm before the storm.
Absolutely,
and it's the first race of the season too. A lot of these drivers have been, haven't been behind the wheel as much as what they would generally do in the rest of the season, obviously due to holidays and breaks and family time and all that sort of stuff, and now that they're back behind the wheel they're going to get back into the motivation for this season. Of course, for the 2 series that we have here as well too, that you mentioned here on the MC Motorsport, we're back in the GT3s as well, but we're going to be starting the week here with the V8s, the supercars, and this is going to be fantastic racing. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Look at this action that you said back up here for the P3 position, my apologies. Brett's dropped off a little bit, now he's almost a second. I think he's just, you never say never given up, of course, for the previous champion, but he's just basically going to sit back and relax at the moment. I wonder if that any traffic's going to come into play, and no traffic just yet, actually.
You see Danny P and Sebastian Escandari pushing hard at the moment. There's plenty going on here. I've got a little bit of movement further back in that group we were watching before as well, so just keep an eye on that. Snadden's still out in front. Tipping has managed to make the pass. He's been threatening it for a little while, but he's gone through, so Snadden will hold on to 13th for now. Behind them, Jason Douglas from JMR is right there, as is Thomas Cool from Koala Cartel, and then a bit of a gap starting to open up to Josh Harris in 16th. Plenty of moves though throughout the pack when you consider such a big pack of cars here. What you do find is a lot of movement throughout the field as Chris Croak gets out of the way, allows Mitch Curry to come charging on through. Josh Harris still doing his best to hold off Cruz McPhee there. McPhee has got a big look up the inside as they get to turn 1. I haven't seen anyone make a successful pass there in the absence of a mistake from someone else. And talk about mistakes from someone else. Dean Powell's running a little bit wide in the background, and that allows James Doyle to jump on through. Now Josh Harris has got to defend the inside. McPhee around the outside will be looking to get this done. Harris is going to hold his line and really force McPhee out into those marbles, and he'll hang on to that one. Great defensive driving there to maintain the position.
Absolutely great defensive driving. We'll see at the moment a little bit more defensive driving that might need to be done from James there in the 427 car as well too in P3. He's under massive pressure from Jamie there now. It's going to be very interesting to see what the situation is. Jamie's been kind of just sizing him up there for a few laps now, but
hasn't been able to make a move just yet.
Hasn't been able to make a move just yet, exactly.
Just hanging around there, and look, that's the thing with Jamie Dyke. We know him as a driver very, very well. He's most of the time very cool, calm and collected, and he's quite happy to just sit and bide his time, look after the tyres and make sure he's got the grip there when he does decide to make a move. He's going to have a big look up the inside here just to see if he can bait Justinov into something, but so far not able to get him to budge off that racing line. Damon Fisher in the chat. G'day mate, good to have you along. Yeah, the paintwork on these cars looking phenomenal. Lots of great new liveries for 2026. And B-Money Mac, yeah, mate, I tell you what, these guys know their stuff in the supercars, and I am certainly quite comfy to say that the V8 supercar racing that you see here on Simple Racing Broadcast is some of the best you'll find anywhere on iRacing. These guys are so very, very quick behind the wheel of these cars. Jason Douglas looks to the inside. He might actually be able to put the move on here if he can get the nose up alongside. Cool's made a mistake. He's lost control, and that allows Jason Douglas a very easy extra position. Thomas Cool going to start to drop back now. He's going to have to fight off Josh Harris. Further up, though, Danny P, Thomas Hinz, and Ryan Palmer all getting into it at the moment. So Eskandari pulled away. I think Danny P's had a bit of a moment that's maybe just lost him a bit of pace, and he's dropped back here. So he's now under pressure from Palmer and Hinz. Thomas Hinz, a very, very quick driver in just about anything with 4 wheels and an engine. And not a surprise to see him up inside the top 10 here once again.
In the back, Josh Harris as well, too, and Cruz McPhee going for it too for now. Again, almost side by side between as drivers, when they get it again, the Koala Cartel there, you're going to have to try to defend off the ADHD racing entrance. So you think once Josh Harris gets past one of them, he's going to get past the second one. Then somebody was even saying, somebody out there in the chat too before, about the Koala Cartel. Thank you everybody for getting into the chat there as well too. We love engaging with the audience here at Simple Racing Broadcasts Network.
Speaking of the audience, Jeremy Washington, what are you doing not in a car, my friend? I'm sure we'll see you out there on Wednesday night in the GT3s. No doubt at all. And just a big hello to Anthony as party out there, as well as a pickle juice. Good to have you all along, guys. The racing end in front here, I'm just keeping my eye very closely on Jamie Dyke, because I've not seen him go this many laps without putting a move on in a while, and I'm trying to figure out whether Chastanov is actually making it that difficult, or if Dyke's just saving it because he knows how hard it is to get a pass done here at Red Bull. He's only got a couple of laps to go. Does he push hard for third, or is he just going to start his championship the right way, get a fourth place under his belt, and then look to race number 2 to improve his standings? You know, here we go.
I
there
think
it is.
he's going to be looking at going for it now, mate.
That's all it takes. Chastanov, a tiny error on the exit of the corner. Jamie Dyke pounces, and this is what he does each and every time. Gets the car alongside. He's going to own that position alongside that car, and he's going to force Chastanov wide on this final turn. It's going to cost him a bit of pace, though. He's going to try and hold the inside line all the way up this front straight. Jamie Dyke doesn't have the pace out of the corner. He's going to have to watch carefully, because Will Brown is going to shut down the opportunity for him to get back into the racing line here if he's not careful. He's still alongside at turn 1. Jamie Dyke sends it up the inside. Chastanov holds his line. Jamie Dyke has to slow all the way down, and now he's into defensive mode, trying to hold off Will Brown. Chastanov comes across. That's going to allow Dyke to just pull down the straight in the slight slipstream that is there. I tell you what, that could have been the moment. That could have been the moment, and they might not get another one like it this race, I reckon.
Yeah, you're not going to get a great deal, exactly. And more importantly, if he does make a little bit of a mistake with the attack there, William Brown will pounce on that, because he's right on the back of these drivers. Of course, this is the big battle for P3. Not too much happening between P1 and P2. Brett Loxton has not had anything. Will Buchanan as an attack or an answer for this race so far, of course, but they'll have to, with that reverse grid, fight their way back up through the field in their feature race. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage the traffic themselves. But this is the point. Have a look at the replay here from the iRacing designs.
So let's see what's happened here, because Cullen's picked up a couple of positions, and I'm not entirely sure where that's happened in amongst all of that exactly. But anyhow, we'll leave that to carry on along. Will Buchanan's favourite pastimes include long walks on the beach and asking Uber drivers, busy night, mate. Yeah, look...
well, yeah, and Jake, what's Will Buchanan's Uber rating?
I'm curious. Stuff, absolutely.
Yeah. What's
White
his Uber
flag
rating?
is out. Will Buchanan starts his final lap. Brett Loxton is right there behind, and this is the battle for the final step of the podium. Jamie Dyke still looking for an opportunity to pick up a podium spot here to start his campaign for 2026. Still all over the back of James Chastanov. Will Brown right there waiting to pick up the pieces if this all goes wrong. We're going to have a whole bunch of battles to keep an eye on all the way to the line, but this one for that third podium step.
Send it here.
Here we go. Jamie Dyke really looking for it. He's got the nose up along inside. Chastanov leaves the room there. Side by side, Jamie Dyke won't have the acceleration out of the corner. Chastanov's going to come across and defend that inside line. I don't think Jamie Dyke's going to have another crack at this. There's only a couple of corners left.
Yeah. He's got to force Chastanov. It's up to Chastanov to make a mistake, is it really, at this point?
100%.
And he's had to hold off that. It's not easy to mirror drive, no doubt, especially when you got Jamie Dyke for the MC Motorsport entrance right putting the pressure on you. But that'll be the situation for those drivers now. You just got to remember, Chastanov's just going to just drive your own racing line. Don't just ignore the fact you've got cars behind you, and you should be okay to secure that P3 up 3 places as well too. With Jamie Dyke and Will Brown all up 3 places, Brett Loxton up 2, and then our race leader, well, he put it on pole, and he should finish our first race of the season in P1.
That he should. Will Buchanan makes it around the final turn. He'll take the checkered flag with Brett Loxton, last season's champion, in hot pursuit behind a great drive from Buchanan all the way home. Brett Loxton couldn't do it in the end. Jamie Dyke just can't get there as well. So he'll finish in 4th, just behind Chastanov, with Will Brown from Phoenix Racing in 5th place. I will let you know, folks, that is not the Will Brown, not the supercar driver, but he does get asked that all the time, and it's not hard to see why with results like that. A close finish as well for Ryan Nielsen on David Coleman, only a 10th in it. Have a look at this though, side by side as we come to the line. Thomas Cool, Jason Douglas. Who's going to get there? I don't know who got that one. I don't know who got that one, but my timing is saying 1/100th of a second in it, with only 7/100ths to Cruz McVie behind. I think Thomas Cool might have held it, but geez, nothing in it.
It's about the hind of a flea, I think.
Yeah,
between
there
them,
was there was nothing in that finish at all. What a way to wrap up race number 1. The last of the drivers just making their way across the line now as we wait on Jake Rebellion and Ronald Long, who comes across the line in 30th place, and a couple more drivers behind Paul Young. Not the race he was hoping for, of course. Starting from the pits and a few issues there, but he's managed to
for the feature race.
Yeah, look, exactly. Can't argue with that.
GG's to Dean Powell as well too, taking it for the AM class as well too. You can see that little silver that's highlighted in the tower there. That indicates he got the maximum position for that in the 93 car there, ahead of the 99.
Slashbrook's still out here trying to finish his final lap in amongst the already completed traffic. So he's pushing on as best he can. But he's on his way, getting a bit of the flash of the lights there from I think, is that Danny P? Just giving him a bit of a hello on the way through. But Lashbrook will be the last driver to cross the line here in race 1 before we do get those official results coming on through. And he makes his way across the line. So let's take a look at the results for race number 1, the overall standings right here. So we'll have to figure out what's going on with our points here this evening. But anyhow, this is how it looks after race number 1. Will Buchanan takes the win with Brett Loxton and Jane Chastanov behind. Jamie Dyker, Will Brown 4th and 5th. Then Eskandari, Danny P, Ryan Palmer, Thomas Hins and Ryan Nielsen sneaks home in 10th place. That top 10 will be reversed in race number 2, of course. So Nielsen and Hins will be on the front row. And that's a great opportunity for Thomas Hins. He's very, very quick in a V8 supercar. Not quite the pace we're expecting from him this evening, but being out in front will be a great start. David Coleman and Liam Tipping just missing out. Have a look though at the gap there. Thomas Cool 27.138 behind the leader. Jason Douglas 27.147. So 9 thousandths of a second separating that battle for 14th and 15th across the line. Nothing in it at all, and I reckon we'll see a bit of a continuation of that as well. That wraps up race number 1, and while the drivers do go through a quick warm-up, we'll take a moment to bring in the man himself. Mitch Curry joins us in the booth. G'day, mate. Welcome back for 2026, and what a great way to kick it off.
Hey, fellas. Yeah, not a bad way to start it, mate. I won't talk about my race. We'll just talk about the other boys. Mate, mine was just due.
Alrighty, folks, I think we are back. Apologies for the issues there. OBS just doing OBS things as we do our best to cover this. And with only a bit over a minute left here, Mitch, sorry for the interruption, mate. Really quickly, obviously a bit of a charity event coming up that you wanted to have a chat to us about.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thank you for that. Yeah, the sim racing community copped a massive loss with the passing of Bryce Cantwell. A few other people might know him as Fly Boarding on the PlayStation side of things, so GT Sport, Gran Turismo 7. He's someone that I actually know personally, so does a few of the admin and a lot of the guys from MC Motorsport. I actually got the chance to spend a few days with him and his best mate Craig up at the top of the mountain at Bathurst for the 12 hour I do believe it was. But no, look, condolences from everyone at MC, and I'm sure that goes out from everyone at Motor Motion, Track Stars, Trailblazers, everywhere else he's raced as well. Price is a fantastic bloke, was always up for a chat, had an amazing sense of humour, and I know he's very missed, especially by Craig, his wife, his daughter, Craig, his best mate. I know it's hit him very, very hard, but so in dedication to Bryce, on the 31st of January, we're putting together a Bathurst 500 charity race. It'll be a $10 buy-in minimum per driver, so it'll be 2 drivers per car, so $20 per car minimum. You can donate more, you can do whatever you like in that space. All of that money will be going directly to MND Australia. There'll be a live donation link up during the stream of it, but look, the more I know, the more I'll post on the MC page. I'm sure Jared will do the same on the simple broadcast side of things as well, but no, just a massive loss for the community. I mean, as you would have saw at the start of the broadcast, his photo there. So, no, it's a bit of a sad time, but look, we're in V8s. He loves his V8s, so, you know, I like to think he's up there looking down, loving it.
Yeah, mate, look, it's a hell of a disease, M&D, and too many people with far too much experience with it. So looking forward to putting that event on with you and trying to raise some money for a very, very worthy cause. Mate, you're going to go jump back in the car now, I'm sure, as we start to grid up for race number 2. Best of luck out there for the second one, and hopefully goes a bit better this time around for you, hey?
Yeah, no, we'll see what happens, mate. I'm very amateur in one of these cars, so, but no, thanks everyone, and yeah, if you want to know any more information, jump on the MC Motorsport Facebook page or the Discord. Everything's in there. We'll keep it updated. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mitch. Discord, of course, just down below if you do want to get involved. Let's take a quick look at the grid here for race number 2. Ryan Nielsen and Thomas Hinds at the front, then Ryan Palmer and Danny P behind them, Sebastian Eskandari and William Brown on row number 3. Jamie Dyke and James Chastano start on row 4, then Brett Loxton and Will Buchanan rounding out your top 10. The rest of the field will start exactly as they finished in race number 1. As we go down to the grid, we've got only a few drivers left to go. Coleman and Tipping, then Snadden and Cool, Douglas and Cruz McPhee ahead of Harris and Cullen, then Dean Powell and Caplet rounding out your top 20. Doyle and Morris ahead of Jensen and Gresh, Mitch Curry and Trev Mortimer on row 13, then Chris Croat and Matt Bakir ahead of Jake Rebelliard and Ronald Long. Behind them, Paul Young, Luke Hyden, Scott Watts, Chris Lashbrook and Phil Whiteman starting in 35th. So a big field here tonight, Biggles. It's a this race is going to be interesting. The longer of the two, of course, 32 laps here. It is going to bring a bit of fuel strategy into play, perhaps. And as always, I'm going to be tipping. Keep an eye on Jamie Dyke if fuel is a consideration, because he is absolutely one that knows his way around a fuel-saving strategy.
It's going to be interesting as well, too, with that fuel. As you mentioned, it's about 61% fuel capacity. And, well, will the undercut really be benefiting here a lot than the overcut? It'll be interesting to see how that situation is going to pan out, especially the situation when they come to traffic. If they do come to traffic, we didn't really get that too much of a problem with the traffic situation in our first race. So we know that for a fact that after 16 laps, you're barely going to become to any traffic. But, of course, for 32 laps and with situations we'll find out. And just to let you know as well, too, that statue is pretty heavy as well, too, mate. It's 44 tons of steel.
Wow.
For that bull.
Yeah, okay. So no one making off with that one overnight, that's for sure. Not without some pretty heavy equipment. We are just about ready to get underway here in race number 2. We're just waiting on confirmation at the back of the grid that we're good to go. I think we've got all the drivers on, so we are under starters orders here. Race 2 lies ahead. I don't know why we've got green lights up, but anyhow, we'll figure that one out a little later on. We do have the green flag though, so we are underway for race number 2 as Ryan Nielsen leads us away. Ryan Palmer gets a great jump off the line as we come on down to turn 1 for the first time, and Palmer leads alongside Nielsen. Danny P and Will Brown behind them, Hinds, Eskandari, Dyke, Chastano, Buchanan and Loxton. Nielsen and Palmer going side by side as they make their way through turn 2 and up towards turn 3 now. Nielsen on the inside. Ryan Palmer's going to need a great braking effort on cold tyres here if he wants to stay out in front. I think for now he's just going to be happy to sit alongside as the rest of the field does much the same behind, 2 by 2 all the way down, and all of these drivers pushing so hard to not fall back even one spot. A little bit of a rub there between Palmer and Nielsen, so they're battling pretty hard. Ryan Palmer just maybe testing out Nielsen and seeing what he's got up the sleeve as a new driver to the series. A bit of movement in the background as well. Morris and Caplet just trading positions there further back in the field. And again, a fairly clean start all around as Jamie Dyke picks up another position, goes up into 6th ahead of Thomas Hinds. Ryan Palmer finally settles back in behind Nielsen, and we're into single file racing.
Well behaved drivers, well behaved. A little bit of a slip up there for Aaron Palmer as well too, with the power down there, but the rear end didn't agree with him. They're actually going to booms up some little bit of a distance at the moment there to Nielsen up the road there. Denny P is going to be ready to pounce on him in the background there. William Brown up 2 positions as well in the P4 position. But as I said, well behaved for most drivers. Just a little off-track excursion, I'd say, from Justin Douglas, but that's so far so good. Everybody put in the right direction.
Yeah, not a bad start at all as we come across the line for the first time this race, and plenty going on. This battle is one to watch. At the moment, we've got again a mid-pack group that's bringing us a whole lot of action. Sam Cullen's right in amongst it. He finds himself behind Josh Harris. You can see 3 or 4 wide just up the road, with David Coleman getting squeezed across there by Chastanov. He's side by side, even though it doesn't look at Snadden's right there behind. Liam Tipping out in front is going to be watching that mirror and wondering who it is that's going to come through and potentially just barge him off track here. At the moment, though, Coleman and Snadden are looking relatively comfy on the inside. Chris Crote and Jake Rebellion further back in the field.
Pile up there a little bit. Yeah, you got 3 cars involved, but I should be able to get going. I'll keep an eye on that one for you at the moment. They are kind of still bunched up there, but there's no traffic coming around the outside. Then they have cleared those cars, so it should be okay. I don't think there's going to be a safety car deployed at the moment for that one. So, but 3 cars will be forced to the back of the field.
Well, we continue on, and this is one of the great things about tracks with a bit of runoff. We don't see that many safety cars because it very rarely ends up with the track blocked or cars damaged too severely. The question, of course, is just how much contact there was. As we see Jamie Dyke just getting caught up a little bit behind Thomas Hiddens. Mr. Den saying it's going to rain. Mate, it's cloudy, but I don't think there's anything in the forecast. I'm pretty confident we're going to get through with a dry race here tonight. But of course, 32 laps is a long time. Anything can happen. And as often is the case, anything does tend to happen here on iRacing. So we'll have to wait and see. It's certainly looking a little more threatening than we were expecting from the forecast.
We'll be seeding some clouds up there, see if we can get a little bit of rain or something like that, or pop-up sprinklers or whatever. You never know what can happen.
Problem is, I've just been using sunflower seeds, Biggles. It doesn't seem to work.
Sunflower seeds. Oh, look at this up the hill. 3 wide action. That doesn't work out too well sometimes. Between Jamie Tice, I'm not streaming to YouTube, so I can't tell you if it's both of us that would be doing it too.
We are back again, folks. Not quite sure what's happening with the YouTube service tonight. It is, yeah, mate. I need another 3 tonight. It's a bit of an odd one, but
well, your connection's fine to iRace. It's not an actual internet connection problem because I'm getting your pictures from you fine.
Just fine. It's a bit of instability tonight with the connection between OBS and the YouTube servers. So we'll try and figure that out. But not right now, not mid-race, because there is too much going on and we want to make sure we get as much as we possibly can in amongst all of the issues. So bear with us, folks, and we'll make sure that we keep it running as best we can tonight. Chastanov and Tipping side by side. James Chastanov picks up another position, so just trying to recover the couple that he's already lost from the start. You can see David Coleman in the background from Fishy Motorsport trying to get in on the action as well. Liam Tipping sticking with him. Brett Loxton further up is racing now really with his teammate Thomas Hiddens, so they're going to have to work that out pretty quickly. Behind them, Sam Cullen and Josh Harris side by side on the way down. Cullen squeezing Harris to the outside. Big lock up ahead.
Lashbrook just had a spin before them, yeah.
No, David Coleman. David Coleman sitting backwards in one of the worst possible spots. He's managed to get the car moving and off the track, so thankfully not too much damage done, but that's a really, really awkward spot for him to be stuck.
Well, also at the same time, that's where Lashbrook had spun, but Lashbrook had spun actually out of the top of the hill, so he had to wait for some traffic in order to back up. Almost backed up a little bit. I stopped there for a second, so I didn't hit anybody. Look at this, Danny P here and William, a little bit of leaning on each other. That's what we call trading paints, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
Off the track.
Yeah, this gives him a slowdown too. Brown won't be too happy with that.
No, Eskandari, was it Eskandari and Brown that had
Eskandari and Brown it was, man.
Was it Eskandari and Brown in the first race? Eskandari
in the first race, yes it is.
No, he was pushing pretty hard with Nielsen in the first race. Yeah. So I tell you what, for an open wheel driver, Eskandari absolutely does not mind throwing a bit of weight around in the V8 supercar, that's for sure.
Oh, well, nothing wrong with that. You know, you've got to get your elbows out. It is to get some overtakes done around here at the top of the hill as they go again. started the lap. Good to see Wheelfield as well. Brett Loxton was the fastest man on the last lap as well too. He's currently running in P4. More importantly for him is that he is ahead of Will Buchanan, who's down there in P8. So, remember Brett Loxton that came second in their first feature race has got it. These cars behind him, really, these cars as buffers. Thomas Inzer and William Brown between them. See, he doesn't want Will Buchanan to get on his tailpipe anytime soon. Look at this.
Buchanan's right there though, isn't he? He's threatening. We've got this nose to tail action again. We're only 5 laps in, and these guys don't look to be treating this as anything less than a sprint race that'll just be punctuated by a brief pit stop. There's certainly no fuel saving going on here. These guys pushing it very, very hard, and certainly does look. I don't know that the weather's going to be the biggest issue here. I'm less worried about rain. I'm more worried about cars coming together and ending up in barriers at this point, because there's not a lot being held back by any of these drivers. The front end of the field certainly not spaced out like we saw in race number 1, the reverse top 10 grid doing its job in that respect, I suppose. Ryan Nielsen doing a great job to hold on to P1. Ryan Palmer's right there behind him. Danny P, though, all over the back of the ADHD car. And then behind them, Eskandari, Loxton, Hinds, Brown, Buchanan, Jamie Dyke and James Chasnove in hot pursuit. Jamie Dyke looking for an opportunity here. He's going to run wide out of that turn and look up the inside. Can't see the move here at the moment as we see Buchanan pushing hard. He's going to go wide. Dyke might pounce this. We're 3 wide here.
I don't know if he's going to have the speed overall, but he certainly, he's been following cars, of course, in that first race at the moment. He doesn't want him sitting there following too many cars around this one.
Look at Buchanan go though, he's just charging through. I don't know where he's found this pace this lap, but Will Brown, just no answer to it at all. Jamie Dyke's trying desperately to go with Buchanan. He can't quite get there, so he's going to stop back in behind Brown again. And Buchanan says, thanks very much, I'm just going to keep on going and leave you boys to it, because I've got a few cars ahead of me I want to catch.
It's only Thomas Inns now for separating him and Loxton. Remember those 2 drivers that kind of ran away with the first race.
G'day Knox, welcome on into the chat, my friend. Good to have you along. As we see Cullen continuing to make his way up through.
Crash, but he's off, and he's backed it off in the safety barrier. He's up the top of the hill, he's had a little bit of a spin, but nobody's around him. That first pack, you could see at the moment, they're all coming down the start-finish line or in the final turn. Let you know that Ronald Long has resumed the racing again, and he's back on the track.
Dean Powell, the top-rated amateur driver at the moment, sitting in 16th, maybe 17th, depending on the seconds that our timing tower is looking at. But he is pushing hard, trying to get this move done and really lock it away past James Doyle from Koala Cartel. They're side by side again. Doyle had a very, very slow exit there, so he's going to drop back, and Dean Powell locks away 16th. Now Morris and Doyle behind him will be battling it out all the way up to turn 3. They're going to be side by side. I don't know that Doyle's going to be able to hold this around the outside. I think Morris is going to have an opportunity, but Powell has to slow it right down. And again, we're seeing a 3-wide exit. I think, yeah, Dean Powell's lost a lot of pace through that turn, just got it wrong under brakes. And he's actually going to drop back again. So all of a sudden, it's Doyle and Morris that are back into it. Out in front, though, oh no, who's that off the track? That's Sam Cullen.
Yes, Sam Cullen.
It's just run very, very wide, and it has got the car
behind all these drivers right now.
Now.
He's got to try to get all those marbles and all that stuff off the tyres at the moment. Doesn't have too much traction as he takes a swing around the 2 left-hand turns in this circuit, the only 2, and then the rest of it all punishing right-hand turns.
Look at this mid-pack train we've got going again, though, behind Doyle. Doyle, Morris, Powell, Caplet, Young, Cullen, Curry, Cool, Jensen, McVie.
Oh, that sounds like a massive law firm.
Doesn't it? 15th to 24th. We've got 10 cars, if my maths is any good, in this train right now. Mitch Curry and Thomas Cool just looking to swap positions here. Look at the 3 Koala Cartel cars, though. Pressure.
Losing it, and I've lost Jared there for a second. Okay, good.
No, we're good again.
Yeah, we're good.
We are good again. I don't know what's going on with OBS tonight, but we'll have to figure that out between tonight and tomorrow night's racing, of course.
Business end as well too. At the moment, there, Ryan Palmer's starting to put a bit of pressure there on Ryan Nielsen, so the Ryan and Ryan show up there, and Danny P's come and play. So I wonder if Nielsen just made a little bit of a mistake at some point. And here we go, Ryan Palmer, maybe ready to pounce on out to the inside there. Going to slide into him, maybe push him off the track a little bit. Keep an eye out, and Danny P in the background, ready to lurk on this one. And don't forget about Brett Loxton. He's there. Man finished in second. Look at this. It's all happening front end of the field right now, the business end.
I tell you what, that was a very, very close moment to this front end becoming a four-wide battle, which just doesn't work around Red Bull Ring or most tracks for that matter. I'm surprised Danny P couldn't make something of that and actually pick up the spot inside Palmer, because he had a great position coming out of the right-hander. Right now, though, he's under attack from Loxton, who finds his way up the inside, and now Danny P's going to have to watch for Eskandari. Eskandari pushes hard and squeezes on through. I tell you what, Eskandari is absolutely physical out there on track, the way he's throwing that car around. Danny P just continues to drop down through the order.
Yeah,
he just cannot get back onto that racing line, keeps having cars move up the inside, and this is always the challenge when you've got a tight racing line like this.
A little bit of flashing from some of the headlights up the road as well too, but yeah, once again, Danny P doesn't want to give up this position to Buchanan. And then you've got William Brown in the background. We're showing some serious pace there, as you see another challenge up there between Ryan and Ryan Palmer, the Ryan and Ryans. Once again, Ryan Nelson did hold them off again there. Ryan Palmer was starting a little bit of frustration creeping in soon, because he knows Brett Loxton's coming on pretty quickly as well too. So the ADHD driver of Ryan Palmer might have to do some more defending than attacking very soon as we drop back and have a look at this P6 battle as well too, just behind him. This is where it's all at currently at the moment.
Snadden up the inside as well for 11th, so he takes tipping through the right hand, and tipping an opportunity to perhaps claw it back, but Snadden will be on the inside for the two left-handers, so well positioned there. I think he should hold on to this and will indeed pick up 11th again, and he'll look to shut down the attack from tipping. So it just continues, but that battle pack that we were looking at in the midfield is still there. It's broken up a little bit, but now take a look at the front 10. It's just not. It's not being broken up. No one's managing to actually pull away here tonight. We're almost 10 laps in now to this second race, a third of the way home, and no one really establishing themselves as a clear leader in these early stages. I reckon if Palmer can get a move done, he might have a shot at doing that. But as it stands, I mean, he's so busy managing what's going on behind him as well. Take a look back from Ryan Palmer's car at just how much he is having to keep an eye on what's actually happening behind him there.
3 seconds separates the top 10 drivers. That's how close it is.
Nothing in it at all. Oh, there's a big look from Loxton there, and a moment from Palmer. That's going to cost him. And indeed, he's going to lose a position there. Can he get back into the line, though? That's the question. Eskandari's right there, and I reckon Eskandari's a real risk of throwing something. Palmer's looking back to the inside. Loxton's going to try and get it done around the outside. Can't get there, but Palmer back on the inside. That could be the gap that he's looking for. He's side by side now with Nielsen. He's got a good run. Big wiggle as he tries to get the power down. He's going to be on the outside, so I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it around here. He might find himself dropping back again. Loxton can't quite get there, so they're side by side. Palmer's trying everything to hold on and be on the inside of those final two turns onto the main straight. He knows this is his opportunity. Dips the right wheels off the inside. A little bit of contact there with Nielsen. Nielsen runs wide out into the kitty litter, keeps it going, but he'll drop back a couple of spots. Now Loxton on the inside of Palmer. Palmer just cannot get back across. And here comes Eskandari.
Wow, and Eskandari, exactly as you mentioned as well too. Palmer desperately trying to hold off on the outside there from Eskandari. Loxton sees that opportunity, up 8 places now into the lead of this race. There's a big battle for P2, P3, P4. Will Buchanan's also in this mix. Fantastic. Who's going to come out of turn 1 safely and pointing in the right direction between those drivers? Oh! Will Buchanan's off.
Buchanan's off. A little bit of contact there. It was always going to happen. It was just a question of where, and Buchanan, unfortunately, the one that suffers. Jamie Dyke somehow maintains his position in amongst it, but he's up alongside Ryan Nielsen as they make the run down. And now Dyke, held up by Danny P in front, has to drop back, but he's going to continue that battle. A little bit of a rub on the way out. We'll go back and take a look at what happened to Will Buchanan there in just a moment. But I'll tell you what, Beagles, these guys throwing absolutely everything at it. Considering we're only a third of the way through the race, it's a hard push right now.
Yeah, it was a big, but almost a big push there as well too into the corner there, and Danny P and Dyke has absolutely gone for it. It is great racing out there. somebody was saying there's a little bit of silly driving out there. Well, I mean,
there's absolutely some red mist going on out there, guarantee it.
Yeah, there is.
You don't get results like that. You could see it as they were coming down the main straight. We were watching that battle out in front, but you could see in the background, Nielsen was throwing the car all over the place, trying to find a line, and it creates so many opportunities for things to go wrong. Jamie Dyke just cannot seem to break away right now. He's side by side with Nielsen, and these guys have been side by side pretty well all the way through this lap. Will Brown behind them will be looking for an opportunity. Dyke's got the nose just in front. If he can hold this all the way,
they're landing on each other.
Rubbing panels here. Jamie Dyke's trying to send a message, I think, to Nielsen. The question is it going to get through, or is Nielsen going to continue to push on here? Jamie Dyke gives him plenty of room through the turn, but make no mistake, that rubber panels down the straight was a very, very clear warning shot for Nielsen, and I suspect Jamie Dyke being a little bit unhappy with what might have happened over the past lap. Now have a look at this. Will Brown looks up the inside of Nielsen. Behind them, Chassenov and Hinz just begging for an opportunity to be set free and to get moving. And again, we've got this massive group, a bit of a flash of the lights here from Ryan Palmer. And I wonder if there's been a little bit of a touch from Eskandari there somewhere along the way. That was...
Yeah, it looked like there was actually. Eskandari and Palmer were definitely leaning into each other a little bit of a situation before them as well, too, and that's still probably going to continue. Danny P and Ryan Palmer now, Tifa now. There's action all over the place, as you can imagine. And, we still got a round of pit stops to come from these drivers. Lap 12 of 32, and I'm halfway through yet.
All of this has served to give Brett Loxton some breathing room. This is the first time we've actually seen any breathing room out in front for any driver, and it is none other than last V8 season champion Brett Loxton from Team Jinx Shifters, who finds himself with a bit of space to spare. Let's go back and take a look at Will Buchanan on the way into turn one, and look,
squeezed,
just squeezed there. I don't know whether there was contact.
I mean, you're three wide into turn one. And remember, you've got that sleeping policeman there in the corner there too, so you can't really afford to run wide out, too wide on that turn.
There you
three
go.
into one, essentially.
One into two into three, so it looks like Danny P sent one of the other cars into the back of Buchanan, and sure enough, that's what's happened. Ryan Palmer and Danny P now side by side. Bit of contact. That sends Danny P well off his braking line into turn one, so he'll go off the escape road. Ryan Palmer continues on. I tell you what,
how lucky was Will Buchanan there to actually, there was a gap between that pack and then the next pack, so he was lucky that he'd actually just get the car back out and going without losing too much. Like if those rest of those cars were coming around, of Douglas and Paul Young and all that, and then he would have had to wait for another pack of about 10 cars to get going again. So very, very lucky. Well, Buchanan's not out of this race by any means. He's from P12.
Yeah, it looks still plenty of time up his sleeve to try and make something more of it, as well as we see Josh Harris, Doyle and Cullen all battling it out back in 16th, 17th and 18th. There's still plenty going on right throughout this field. Quite a bit going on in the chat as well, as we discuss what exactly that move was into turn one. And look, I've got to agree with Jake. I think turn one at Red Bull, it's not the place to go throwing a speculative pass in there. You've got to be really clearly alongside. There's just not enough room, Biggles.
And the sleeping, I said that sleeping policeman, the barricade, the boulevard, let's say on the outside, you go too wide up there, you hit that, bang, you know that car's gone. You know, you're into the fence and cause a massive accident. So you can't run wide up there.
No.
So there's just no space, and it's a high-speed corner to be chucking three cars in there. Now up to turn two, we call it turn two at the top of the hill. Yeah, you can go three wide, and then we saw it multiple times. And three cars can come out of that corner safely, maybe in different positions, but it's very much possible.
That was a perfect example, though, of how to get a move done there. Cullen looking very, very clean up the inside of Harris. That's the sort of move you can pull through turn one. Anything more than that is a bit ambitious, to say how least. We see Ryan Nielsen just going side by side now with Hinz back here. So the battle's continuing. Thomas Hinz trying to move up through the pack, and it looks like he'll have to sit alongside Nielsen for a little while yet, because of course the left-handers are going to give Nielsen the advantage here if Hinz can't shut the door. He had it for just a moment there. He might have had enough to duck across and shut it, but he hasn't done it in time. So he's had to drop back in behind and maintain ninth position. Further back, Dean Powell, Thomas Kuhl, Liam Jensen, Mitch Curry, all in this pack. Have a look at it. The battles are fierce here tonight at Red Bull Ring. We're almost halfway through race number 2, and I don't think we've seen the last of it, Biggles.
No, we haven't. 19 laps to go, and still pit stops. No rain on the horizon currently at the moment, but certainly a lot of
there it is,
sweat
Dean
coming out
Powell,
of
bit
these
of
cars.
contact, and he's sideways. Manages to get straightened up there, and we'll keep going. There's evasive action from everyone around him. It's only going to cost him positions. Thankfully, it's not going to cost him anything more than that. And now Nielsen continues to hold that advantage over Hindley and tipping. The front group starting to really spread out now, and I think, you know,
Josh Harris is in too, taking the first of these pit stops.
There we go, the first of the pit stops. Okay, so Harris comes in. He'll be one to watch. Let's see if there's anything in this undercut. The rain is absolutely pelting down here at my house, Biggles, but on track it remains dry. Yeah, we've got a nice little storm going on outside by the sound of things, which
missing me.
Might explain a little bit of what's going on, perhaps, with the internet tonight. But anyhow, Thomas Hins again under attack here. These guys just swapping positions over and over. This doesn't bode well, does it? We see this happen so often where you get drivers really locked into a battle. And they end up giving into the red mist and both wiping each other out. I'm hoping that these guys can keep a cool head here, because there's still a long way to go in this race before we call time on round number 1 here in the Domains2U MCV8 Series. And Thomas Hins, look, he's pretty cool, calm and collected most of the time, but Nielsen really pushing him at the moment.
Yeah, not just that. You got Dane Snagan in the background there, lurking and ready to pounce there with Liam tipping from the Koala Cartel. I think I'm going to get that rain in about 5 minutes that you're having. Well, in fact, you're looking at some of those drivers coming into Pier Road at the moment. That's Liam and Will Buchanan. So you can't blame Will Buchanan to looking to a different strategy at the moment, trying to make up those places. Our race 1 winner.
We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. We are.
Gentlemen, did you not get the memo?
Naden gets caught on the outside. Nothing he could do there, just gets the clip as these guys try to make their way through. Hins and Nielsen continue. Dane Snaden will drop a long way down through the field as he tries to get going again. It won't have done a great deal of damage, but it's going to cost him a lot of positions, and that's really unfortunate. One of them,
Keep an eye on
had
Nelson
to back out.
Yeah, Nelson and Thomas are still leading on each other, mate. That's not over yet between those two drivers. They are trading pace, mate.
I've never seen anyone go that far inside into this turn. This is absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys are pushing way too hard for lap 16 of a 32-lap race.
If I was an engineer, I'd be trying to call one of my drivers in right now, isn't it? Because you just got a feeling that these two, somebody's going around. Well, you saw what happened with the 3 of them before.
And this is the thing, like
Dane Snagan.
Someone had to back out, and all 3 of them said, no, it's not me, guys. You figure it out, but it's not me. And when you've got all 3 drivers with the same mindset, yeah, look, Snaden unfortunately got clipped, but it's one of those things you've got to keep an eye on, right? If there's an accident and you're on the outside of that turn, you're going to cop it. And,
yeah, well, there you go. So Thomas comes in. So Escadati comes in, Dyke, yep. Chastanoff comes in as well too, Paul Young. So they have elected to get that done. There, it's still 16 laps, about halfway through this race to be expected. As you can see currently at the moment, Palmer and Danny P.
Palmer had a big moment on the exit of turn 1, just got all sorts of sideways. That's cost him a lot of pace as he makes his way up towards 3, but he gets it back under brakes around the outside. Palmer really in touch with the Camaro here tonight, and able to send it much deeper than a lot of these other drivers, it seems. Further back in the field, this little trio going on, Morris, Doyle and Douglas all battling it out as well. And it looks like Douglas is going to get the run up the inside of Doyle on the way through turn 3. Yeah, just a touch too much gentle on the way out of turn 1, wasn't there? Just a touch.
Yeah, they're starting to slip and slide around here currently at the moment as well too. There's a lot of wheel spin coming out of the rear.
Well, you think about how hard these guys have been pushing. We're 17 laps in. Like, the weather conditions aren't terrible for tyre wear, but these guys have been pushing really hard the whole way. We saw how long that group out in the front 10 continued through really most of the first half here. A bit of a flash of the lights there from Daniel Poulton. I don't know if there was some contact we missed, but a little bit of inter-car communication. Danny P going into the pits. Maybe that was maybe that was the message. Bit of thanks to the racing, mate. We'll see you soon. All of that's done though. Have a look at this. Brett Loxton out in front with a 6-second gap to P2. He is cruising at the moment.
Looking at about a 16-second stationary pit stop on average for some of these drivers, with still about 10 to 12 odd cars to head back in. We're seeing another group coming in at the moment, including the boss man, Mitch Curry. So it's interesting to see. If you're looking at net leader at the moment who's taken a pit stop would be Jamie Dyke, but he currently at the moment, prior to this, he's about 37 seconds off our race leader, Brett Loxton. And even though it's showing it about a 45-second overall in and out of pit lane, that's not 100% correct. I think Loxton should still remain the leader of this race, but it'll be depending on how far Jamie Dyke's going to get up through the field here once they do get those pit stops out of the window.
Yeah, well, right now he's out in front of Danny P and James Chastanov, so that's not a bad spot for him to be, but he's got a few drivers he needs to keep an eye on. The gap, though, right now, actually looking pretty promising. You know, pit lane times of about 50 seconds end to end, and the gap forward to Brett Loxton is 37 seconds from Jamie Dyke. I reckon Dyke might have actually pulled the undercut here. It's early to call it, I know, but he's in a really strong position.
It is. It's very interesting, isn't it? Because that's
it just shows you what the difference can be when you get caught up in these battles, right?
Yeah, he's been doing similar lap times to our race leaders. So this doesn't mean off the pace or anything, doesn't mean that much super quicker, but he's in clear air. And it's important for him just to get out there and focus on his own lap times and see how this all pans out after all the pit stops are done. Like 14 laps to go currently at the moment, and there's still plenty of motor racing action packed all over our first race of the season, or first 2 rounds of the season. You can class it as that.
Well, first 2 races of the season, first round of the season, and first round of the year, 2026. Off to a great start if this is the sort of racing we're going to see all year here, Biggles. Look, there's been some questionable decisions tonight by a few of the drivers, no doubt, but it's made for some great viewing as we see the 2 Koala Cartel cars just sorting themselves out here. Thomas Cool goes through on Cruz McPhee. And have a look at the Koala Cartel entries. James Doyle in 4th, up 17 positions, although a pit stop to come. Jensen, Cool and Cruz McVie, 4 Koala Cartel entries in a row from 4th through 7th.
Yeah, fantastic. Love the Koala Cartel liveries as well too. Shout out your favourite drivers and liveries that you've seen this season. Some of the new liveries, the 2026 season, absolutely great. As you can see the SpongeBob helmet as well too there from Ryan Palmer. I think he always likes to wear it.
I still can't take him seriously. I still can't take him seriously, no matter how quick Ryan Palmer is. Every time we go on board with him and I see that SpongeBob helmet looking back at me, I just can't, mate. I just can't. He's been putting in some good times though. You know, still holding minute 33s, a 32.88 on that lap as well. Considering how old his tyres are now, 20 laps in, he's definitely going to be starting to feel it. So, yeah, we'll see how long he does hold on there, but continues to be watching the rear view. Will Brown still right there with him. Brett Loxton out to 7.5 seconds gap now, though, so Loxton definitely with that bit of extra pace at the moment. I think he's just had the opportunity to look after the tyres perhaps a little bit better than Palmer has and than Will Brown have so far. But we wait on these first pit stops, or the only pit stops really in this race, to all play out. Jamie Dyke continues to lead the drivers that have made their stops, as we see.
And still doing good laps there as well too, which is important for him. He needs to be making sure he's matching the leaders' laps.
Nielsen and Tipping just making a little bit of contact there. It sends Tipping into a bit of a wobble, and that's going to be enough for Nielsen to just sneak up the inside. Question is, can Tipping just reverse that on him? Can't at the moment. Yeah, that'll be one to watch, this little battle here, I think, because Liam Tipping won't take that one lying down. Brett Loxton into the pits. All right, keep your eyes on Jamie Dyke, currently sitting in 8th. Let's see how it all goes. G'day, Renee. Great to have you along with us. And what a night of racing it has been. What a way to start 2026. The Domains2U MCV8 Series here with MC Motorsport has kicked us off in fine style. Race number 2 here. We're 2/3 of the way home, and this is not done. just yet. A 5-second time penalty being issued to Sebastian Eskandari for that the contact on lap 4.
I think this is our first race control penalty.
I am surprised, but that doesn't mean it's the only one. It may be the first one that's been sent through to us. I will take a look at the penalty sheet shortly.
Brett Loxton's coming out of pit road right now. We'll see whether or not he can get out ahead of Dykes. So he's coming out now. Cruz McBeal's just going to be around side by side with him. Jamie Dykes a little bit further back down the field. So Brett Loxton will come out essentially in the net. He's got to make sure he gets out ahead there of Cruz. Cruz still has a pit stop to do, which he does. So Brett Loxton has got a little bit of clean air up the road there. He's got the top 5 drivers that are still yet to go to pit road, so he should have a big smile on his face knowing that, as long as he doesn't catch up Thomas Cool too much and get held up by him, knowing that Jamie Dyke is a little bit further down the road, but Jamie's going to be hoping that Cruz McBeal comes in at some point soon, so he can then essentially it's looking pretty close here. Where's Ryan Palmer going to come out? That's going to be interesting. Ryan Palmer and William Brown have to come in soon. They might slot out right there where Jamie Dyke is. I think he might be right in this one.
Brown's in. So Palmer now on his own. Yeah. There's a little while left to decide when he's going to make this first stop. He's got to be getting close. He can't have much left in those tyres.
He's not losing time. His last lap was a 32, late 33s, so mid-32s where the other drivers are doing.
But, Loxton's only about 24 seconds behind on our telemetry, which is, it's not going to be enough. Now, the telemetry gaps there are a bit out of whack because, of course, Jamie Dyke should have come out ahead of Loxton. But, all things considered, I think Palmer will probably find himself in the top 5 somewhere on the other side of his pit stop when he does decide to take it. And a good indicator of that, Will Brown, just on the way out now, is sitting in, well, what's that, effectively 5th, 6th, somewhere around there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that's probably about where we'd expect Ryan Palmer to end up. Another battle group happening right now. Liam Tipping, Paul Young and Will Buchanan caught up in this for 13th position, which will effectively be pretty much the back of the top 10 once the last drivers out in front do make their stops. Palmer, Doyle, Jensen and Cool all yet to make their pit stops. Further back, Chris Croat in 24th hasn't made his, but otherwise the rest of the field have all made their stops, save for, I believe, Phil Whiteman back in 35th.
So Brett Loxton gets past Thomas Cool. Importantly, Palmer's in now.
Well, keep an eye on that one.
Can Palmer clear Jamie Dyke or Danny P? If not, or
you'd have to think he's going to come out somewhere around here with Will Brown. You'd think so.
Yeah, I think maybe. He was ahead of Will Brown, wasn't he, going into the pit stop? So
he was. Yeah. So I don't think he'll come out ahead of Loxton. It's going to be a fairly quick stop, I imagine, for Palmer. He'll be taking on very little fuel.
No, it's not going to get out ahead of Dyke, so...
No, he wouldn't think so. But keep your eyes on this. Will Brown and Eskandari battling it out. Palmer's going to be coming out on fresh tyres, so cold tyres pretty much just about where these guys are, I would think. So it's a pretty slow exit. There he is. He's actually a little bit further back than that. So it's cost him a bit of time somewhere. And there's Ryan Palmer coming out of the pits in the background, so he's actually going to be battling with Thomas Hinds by the look of things. Further back, side by side, Buchanan and Tipping now as they make their way through turn 1. 23 laps down, 32 laps in this race. There's not a lot of time left. The pit stops are done. Now it's just a question of who can keep it pointed in the right direction and keep banging out some fast laps as we approach the checkered flag in race number 2.
So you'd have to say the undercut's paid off there for Jamie Dyke. He's up 5 positions now. You'd have to say the undercut's also paid off a little bit there from James Justinoff as well too, because he's up 4 places currently at the moment. They took the pit stop back on lap 16, NEP as well, lap 17, and then a lot of those other drivers you just see before there who love to talk about box stop lap 21, William Brown, 22 there for Ryan Palmer. Down 4 places on that. So Brett Loxton is the one to beat currently at the moment with 10 laps to go. What happened to Will Buchanan? Well, he has fighting his way back up. He's P11 now after having that 3 into 1 didn't work moment that forced him back out of the podium positions for this race. But certainly crucial points that he did earn for the heat race, and if he can continue to get those points, his drivers know, isn't it? As a championship that's 10 rounds, you've got to consecutively
form right throughout the season, really.
Right throughout the season, exactly. Yeah,
And
you
it
can't
also
win
means
every race.
it's not worth throwing away a potentially okay result for a slightly better, 1 or 2 positions further up is going to be a small improvement. But you don't want us to push so hard that you end up, writing yourself off and finishing down in the bottom of the order, because that pretty much guarantees that this is going to be a drop round.
Or give up.
Well, yeah.
You just don't give up at a season
never.
like this, because we've seen it, haven't we, times and times in the past where the championships are, as you're seeing, there's a nice little battle there between
up the inside.
Haven't we seen championships decided by only a few handful of points at the end of the season? And that's when you've got to reflect back at the earlier races and then go, why didn't I fight just for that extra position or two, Maybe, or why did I give up?
Yeah, absolutely. Damon asking if these guys are on custom or fixed setups. They are custom setups for the V8s. The only restriction, of course, being the fuel restriction. So 80 litres, the maximum that these guys can take on. But otherwise, the setups are open, and we are seeing a little bit of a difference from driver to driver. Just the amount of grip that some of these guys do have around the outside in some of these turns can only be down to set up and taking good care of the tyres. I suppose.
It's hard, isn't it, too? Because, you can get your mate to send you the best setup that he likes that can put in the lap times that are some of the quickest, but you get behind the car and you just can't drive it. Each driver likes to tweak their own setups as well to the best of their ability. But
this is going to get interesting. Brown's just picked up 4th again and puts himself back in front of Chasnote, but Eskandari is starting to come into this battle as well. And look, I'm going to be interested to see what does happen with Sebastian Eskandari over the course of this season, because he's been pushing, and I mean physically pushing that car through some gaps where you wouldn't expect it to fit otherwise. He's already picked up a 5-second penalty here tonight for some earlier contact. He's going to have to be careful. Jake Rebillard has damaged his car at some point. We'll have to have a look at that, but he'll be heading on into the pits, picks himself up a slowdown as well, but he's got a meatball, so Jake Rebillard will need to go and get repairs done. Hopefully he's still got the fast repair up his sleeve. Just having a look at the race control sheet so far tonight, the only penalties, despite all of the argy-bargy we've seen so far, Eskandari has that 5-second time penalty I mentioned. Ryan Palmer is carrying a 5-second penalty, and Simon Caplet down the bottom of the field also a 5-second penalty. So
Jake's blowing up or something. Jake Rebillard's blowing up, and he's just trying to park it off the side. I saw some smoke coming off one of these cars there as they're going past, but he's absolutely parked it out of the series of the second left-hand turn, and he's tried to get off the racing line completely. Actually can't back it up into the area where they're supposed to pull the cars away for safety, but I don't think that's going to be, I think they've allowed him to tow back. He's essentially in a place that you would pull the car off the track anyway. So keeping that for realism there.
That's
Jake,
always a risk for the V8 supercars, isn't it? We see it happen honestly fairly regularly, an extra downshift and all of a sudden that motor pops, and it's as easy as that. I think Jake Rebillard perhaps
Jason Douglas, well, Jason Douglas has been called for a black flag there too somewhere, so he's running a P14. That's going to be a little bit punishing there. There's been any race control messages pop up about that one, but you can see on your timing tower, unless that'll get cleared, that could just be an iRacing black flag that's been issued to the driver and not by race control.
Yeah, I would.
That could be for the too many off tracks.
I would say so. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's easy to rack up 17 off tracks in these cars around a place like Red Bull. It's a track that encourages you to really push the track limits to try and find that little extra pace. But looking just at how the drivers are going over these curbs, even now, it's very, very easy to just pick up a couple of extra points more than you intended to. And if you're not watching it, you'll find yourself at the drive-through, which will send you a long way back through the field. Harris, Jensen and Doyle, the battle for 15th, carrying on. Really, though, the night belonging to Brett Loxton right now, out in front by almost 7 seconds over Jamie Dyke, who's also had a brilliant drive. Danny P, sitting in 3rd, will just have to keep a bit of an eye in his rear view because he's got a battle going on there. Will Brown, James Chasnote, Sebastian Eskandari and Ryan Palmer all vaguely in touch with each other, although Brown certainly pretty well established out in front of this group. You can see just a little further up, Jamie Dyke catching a back marker there. Jason Douglas coming in to serve that drive-through now.
To serve it, yeah. It's unfortunate. Drops him outside the top 20 now. And he was running 14th going into that one, but that's those off-track excursions. I've seen a lot of them tonight, actually, on our software as well. We have in the background. It just comes up a little, lap invalidation, basically, which shows you that they've gone off the track somewhere, which is Canada. And that's, some of those drivers might be on the very edge of that right now, so you got to be very, very careful. They want to push it. They want to try to defend some positions. If attack want to try to get some positions, like you see at the battle there for P5. However, you don't want to, if you're right at the incident limit, get forced with that drive-through, because that will cost you those 10 places at least in this position now. You just settle in and take those points.
Well, you're only
you risk it for the
biscuits. You're only 5 laps out, and this is the decision point. Someone like Palmer here, you know, he's tucked in behind Eskandari. Can see James Chastain just a little further up the raceway, and he's thinking, oh, you know, could I maybe grab just 2 extra positions by the time this race is done. He's got to be so careful not to end his race altogether, though. That's the really tricky thing he's got to keep an eye on. We see a bit of movement in the background here. Young, Nielsen, and Buchanan all battling it out at the bottom of the top 10. Terry's saying that, to be fair, Douglas is used to serving penalties. Okay, well, there you go. Sam Cullen not having a fantastic night. He's trying to claw his way back. He'll get past Mitch Curry here, and that puts Cullen back into 18th spot where he started this race. It's been a bit unfortunate for him, but you know, this is why we have drop rounds, I suppose. When it all goes sideways, you do have that up the sleeve.
One person that won't want to use this as a drop round, of course, is Brett Loxton.
No, absolutely not.
He got a second and now a first if the race was to finish right now, so he'll be super happy. Will Buchanan still fighting currently at the moment with Ryan Nielsen as well too, because Will Buchanan would like to get himself inside that top 10, so he could finish out. If not, maybe a P11. Pretty good to Paul Young as well too, who's currently running in that P9 position. He's up 22 places, just quietly achieved a lot. He took the undercut pit stop as well too, lap 16 there for Paul Young, so hats off to the number 40.
Yeah, still a few points left to play for these drivers. Paul Young has had a cracker of a drive, you know, an awful first race, no 2 ways about it. Had some issues with getting underway and ended up finishing almost at the back of the field, but he's up 22 positions.
Yeah, because
so far this race. Yeah, that's
those undercuts have paid off, haven't they?
Well, it's a warning shot for the rest of the series, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're picking up 22 positions across 32 laps with this sort of talent out on track, what can you do when you have a good first race?
And there wasn't that many incidents, really, wasn't there? There was a couple of spins, of course, and a couple of cars going off, but it wasn't like there was a massive pile-up or a caution flag where he's had to gain all those places. He's get to gain those places literally just by being out there and being quick.
He's just been driving the wheels off the car. That's been all it's taken, and Paul Young, I reckon, has to be the driver of the day so far, just in terms of pure positions gained. 22 is absolutely massive. So there it is.
Wheels gone off.
Just overcooks it a little bit. He's just asked a little bit too much to those tyres. He swapped them back on lap 15, so they are just as old as the ones he got rid of last time around, and that's been enough for him to drop on back. Now Mitch Curry looking up the inside of Cullen. In much the same sort of spot, but no troubles there. Cullen's going to be back on the inside for the left-handers. I don't think Curry's going to be able to hold this one unless he can get across and close the door. But Cullen,
Dan as well behind him, and then Jason Douglas. So
Snab's right there. Big moment up ahead as well as Dave Coleman runs well off track, and he's had a shocker tonight, unfortunately, for the Fishing Motorsports driver. Oh, big contact there. Sparks fly. Curry and Cullen making contact. Curry pushes him all the way to the outside edge, and Cullen just drops in behind.
Don't be surprised that Dane doesn't snag a spot somewhere around here as well too, between these two battling.
Oh, he'll be looking for it. There's only a couple laps left to go, but if these guys keep pushing and rubbing panels like that, then anything is possible. Did see a bit of a puff of smoke there, I thought, but Doesn't look to have been anyone running too far off track. Certainly no one in the top group at this stage. This battle for 18th continues. Mitch Curry just establishing himself out in front at the moment. Danny P just keeping an eye on Will Brown in the rear view. And then behind them, Shasnov and Eskandari battling it out for 5th and 6th. Brent Loxton, though, what a drive again. Starts in 9th position. Has made his way to the front and out in front by almost 9 seconds. Red Bull Ring has been very, very kind to the Team Jig Shifters driver tonight.
Absolutely. Brilliant drive for him, and he had to battle his way through that field as well, so that wasn't easy, remember, in that reverse grid, so he had to get up 8 positions.
Take nothing away either from Jamie Dyke, who, you know, we didn't expect would necessarily come out quite so well from his pit stop, but all of a sudden jumps up to 2nd place, and sure, he's 9 seconds back, but he's also got 2 seconds behind him in Danny P. You can see the battle going on here between himself and Will. That's going to be keeping Danny just busy enough that I reckon Jamie Dyke will be cruising home to a P2. Danny will be wanting to hold on to the bottom step. Here comes Eskandari. He's going to have a look up the inside of Shastanov.
You were mentioning this, weren't you? And he's going to go for it.
He's absolutely going to push on. Shastanov, though, takes the outside line, gets the foot down a little bit earlier as well. Look at him come across to close that door on Eskandari. He knows what's going to come to this next corner if he doesn't do that. And just says, no thank you, you can stay behind me for this one. But Shastanov very much switched on to what's happening here. And Eskandari will just be waiting for another opportunity to do that again, I reckon.
And Chastanov's got the racing stripes, the pinstripes kind of thing on, isn't it? It makes you feel like it's an Aston Martin or something like that at the back of the car there.
It's a really nice livery.
That is.
But then plenty of them here tonight, that's for sure.
Absolutely, there is. There's a couple of drivers that are off there. It looks like maybe
Scott Watts having some issues all the way back in 31st, so just perhaps getting caught up in a bit of lap traffic or something like that. But hasn't been his night. There's the white flag. Brett Loxton starts the final lap. 9 seconds the gap back to Jamie Dyke. I think there's only a couple of positions that'll be in doubt this time around. We're not going to have anywhere near the number of close finishes that we did in race number 1. Let's see if Eskandari sends it here. It'll be a long way back. It'll be an absolute Hail Mary if he was to do it there. But look at the drive he's got out of turn 1. Let's keep an eye on this because I think he'll be desperate at turn 3 to have another go at this, but he's just not close enough. James Shasnov held a beautiful line out of turn 1. He's going to continue on, and Eskandari is going to really struggle to close this gap up to a point where he might have a shot at picking up an extra spot here before we're done.
This is it. The first feature race of the season. Many more races to come. Of course, we're going to be going to Mid-Ohio next for a sprint race.
Yeah, that'll be a very, very different proposition to Red Bull Ring. It's not a track that I've spent a lot of time on, but I know it won't be anywhere near as flowing and fast as Red Bull Ring, that's for sure. So a bit of a pivot for these drivers, but for tonight, they can celebrate their efforts and the achievements here to start their season. Brett Loxton, what a way to set up your title defence. 2nd in race number 1, just a couple of corners left and he will be over the line to take the win here in race number 2. The checkered flag is out. Brett Loxton brings it on home, 32 laps, and that is the win. 10 seconds almost the gap back to Jamie Dyke, who's just rounding that final turn now as he comes across to the pit wall. Danny P, Will Brown in 4th, then Shasnov and Eskandari 5th and 6th. Ryan Palmer finishes just ahead of Thomas Hinz, and then Paul Young, driver of the day for me, up 22 spots into P9. Ryan Nielsen and Will Buchanan, Liam Tipping and Ben Morris behind them. We've only got a few close battles to come. Josh Harris will be coming out of the corner with Doyle and Jensen right on his tail, but I don't think they're going to get there as they cross that control line. Harris holds on to 14th ahead of the 2 Koala Cartel drivers, with Thomas Kuhl not too far behind. A big dive across for Sam Cullen, just holds off Mitch Curry by less than 2/10. Dane Snadden in the end not picking up an extra spot as the rest of the field rolls on through. Simon Caplet finishing in 23rd there as the highest of the AM Cup drivers here in race number 2. Dean Powell not having such a good 2nd race, unfortunately. Adrian Gresh a long way back and still battling with Dean Powell, actually, as we await for the rest of these drivers to finish off. Trent Mortimer will be the last driver to cross the line before we do get the official results. But that is race 2 in the books. And what a way to start this season off. A massive drive from Brett Loxton, and some great results for him. We'll take a look now, though, at the final standings in race number 2 as we wait for some of the drivers to make their way on in to have a chat to us. Loxton takes the win ahead of Jamie Dyke, and then in 3rd place, we'll bring him on in to the office now. Danny P brings it home in 3rd for race 2. Danny, what a way to start your season, eh?
I'm actually chuffed with that 3rd place. Like, I'm actually speechless.
Mate, it was a pretty hairy opening saga in race number 2. That first 10 laps, there was, to say the least, a bit of rubbing his racing kind of mentality going on, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was a bit of biff and barge, kind of like if you get stuck at the outside of the track, everyone goes past you, but then someone else does it, you do the same thing. And then just try not to go 4 wide into turn 1, and then that happened, so, you know.
Yeah, look, we did see a couple of interesting approaches into turn 1. It's not really a track that encourages or allows for that, though, is it?
No, it's kind of like if someone puts the nose there, you've got 2 options: you crash or you let them by.
Well, mate, you've done well to keep it all relatively straight throughout that. Your thoughts on Brett Loxton's opening race here tonight? It's a pretty dominant performance from last V8 season's champion. Do you expect that that'll be the continuation, that you'll be chasing him for the rest of this season?
I've been stuck in GT3 land, so I actually don't really know the experience level of these other guys, but I definitely do know that there's some people in here that have put the time and effort into these cars, so I expect there's going to be a lot of guys. If Brett won last season by a fair bit, then expect for him to do the same.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on it. Danny, thanks for dropping by, mate. Congratulations on the opening to your Domains2U MCV8 Series, and looking forward to hopefully chatting to you a few more times throughout this season, hey?
Yeah, I hope to be in here a few more times.
Fingers crossed, mate.
Shout out to the fans, shout out to you guys. It's going to be a great season.
No doubt. Thank you so much for dropping on in, Danny.
See you boys. Have a good one.
Danny P takes 3rd position, and then the bloke who just quietly got about it tonight, Jamie Dyke, joins us in the booth now. Jamie, you surprised us a little bit with the undercut there, and all of a sudden found yourself in a pretty tidy little spot.
Yeah, howdy boys. Who knew strategy was my forte?
I had an idea, honestly. I had an idea, and it's come together very, very nicely for you there in race 2. How did it feel out on track, though?
It race 2 felt good. Loxton had a awesome wingman to block for him, but in saying that, Loxton drove fucking awesome. Mind the language. And
Go ahead.
Yeah, he drove awesome. So it was yeah, it was all right. First stint was really good. Saved some fuel. Pitted once the battle in front of me got a bit too hectic, and I kind of blew the tyres off at the end trying to stay ahead of Danny P. And I could see Will Brown coming. He was setting really quick laps.
Yeah, well, mate, the undercut served you well and gave you a nice bit of clean air, and I think that's probably what ended up being the difference. It was certainly a pretty messy race to a lot of contact going on. Did you find yourself caught up in much of that, or was that why you took the early pit stop there?
Yeah, I did. Me and Ryan had we door banged for like 3 laps straight before I like got past him. But other than that, all the guys ahead trying to push through, I didn't want a part of it.
Well, mate, the slow and steady wins the race approach. Definitely the way to go this evening. Congratulations on a pretty solid little way to open up your MCV8 series, mate. Anyone you want to say hi to before we do let you go and unwind a bit?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Coleman for racing tonight. Bit of hard luck, but he just got back from holiday, so we'll get some practice in. Chastity and Youngie for some practice this week. I'll give a shout out to Race Control and Funky for, being amazing. And you guys, well done. Glad MCV8 is back.
It's been a while, hasn't it? But it's good to have it back on the calendar, and no slowing down from here, mate. Good to chat to you again. Here's hoping it's not the last time this season, hey?
Here's to hoping.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Jamie. Jamie Dyke there takes out P2 in our second race, and that will bring us to the end of this first round of racing for 2026. Biggles, I don't know what to expect from here, honestly. That was such an aggressive opening round. I honestly expected perhaps just a little bit more of these drivers, just starting to find out who's who in amongst this crowd that they may not have driven with for a little while, but there was absolutely no holding back.
Well, in a 10-round season as well, too, mate, you got to get your elbows out pretty quickly, isn't it? And there certainly were. There was panel rubbing, door banging. That's just the way it is. I mean, it is not the easiest to overtake around here in the Red Bull, but they're in the Red Bull ring here at Spielberg. But it certainly proves that there is overtaking, and you've got to get there. But obviously, I think everybody has got the memo on that one. The three into turn one doesn't really work, and the other opportunities have been some fantastic. And didn't get to see the safety car out there. Didn't have a massive pile. I think 3 cars was the most we saw in a collision, essentially. Otherwise, the rest of them were just basically one car being turned. Be interesting to see how that situation, as I said, will pan out when we get through the rest of the season. But next, we're going to go to Mid-Ohio for a sprint race.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Of course, before we get there, a couple more rounds of racing still to come here on Simple Racing Broadcast. Tomorrow night, Alliance Sim Racing opens their 2026 campaign. Season 7 gets underway at the Bend, so we find ourselves back in Australia for some more V8 Supercar action. And then, of course, Wednesday night, the GT3 Championship will get underway for MC Motorsport, opening that one at the Nürburgring, which is always going to be a pretty exciting place to be in cars with a bit of downforce compared to the Gen 3 supercars. It's been great to have you all along. Thank you so much, Biggles, for jumping in the booth with me, but especially a big thank you to everyone at home for sticking around and checking out some of the amazing racing action. If you haven't already, do make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, because in case you hadn't seen it, we have a huge amount of amazing racing lined up over the next 10 weeks. Some great seasons underway here on Simple Racing Broadcast, and we can't wait to bring them all to you. Until next time, though, whenever you do join us again, from everyone here in the team, it is goodbye for now.